Assignment suggestions. Creative assignment warm-ups. We are all aware of the benefit of warm-ups and long tone practice on all instruments and voice types. How can we get students to do them, be actively engaged in performing them, and get the most benefit from investing time in this skill? Here is an example of one such assignment. Lo-fi, long tones, and etudes 2.0 in MakeMusic Cloud. Assign the exercise. You can start with B flat. Here are the suggested instructions below. Ask the student to play the exercise daily. Make sure they listen to the accompaniment a couple of times before recording themselves. Save the very first recording to their desktop and label it First Day Lo-Fi, their name. The day before the assignment is due, record yourself one more time. And before submitting, write in the comments box what the experience was like and whether you hear anything differently. In addition, explain to your students why you're having them record the very first take and saving it. You'll want to reference that recording in the future so that you have a reference point to compare back to. You should duplicate this lesson 4 times and rename the assignments. New name is long tones up a half step. Change the instructions for the assignment to play the written music, but move a half step higher and back to the original note. Ask your students to reflect on that experience in the comments box. Go to the next duplicated lesson, rename it, down a half step, and you can repeat the rest of the instructions. You could do this with just about any long tone exercise. This accompaniment, however, is more modern and appealing to students. The third assignment, go up a scale tone. Repeat all the previous steps. Fourth assignment, down a scale tone. Repeat those previous steps. You can keep going with this assignment and ask your students to play long tones without looking at the music. You now have the beginning of improvisation. This is a valuable exercise that gets students to practice long tones, keeping it interesting, improving ear training, understanding, compositional techniques of color, tension, and release. Several lessons from one assignment that yields long-term results, giving your students the skills they will need to perform music well. Let's take a look just quickly and hear what lo-fi long tones and etudes sound like. Let's go to MakeMusic Cloud and let's do a quick search for lo-fi long tones. Let's just listen to what the background accompaniment sounds like on lo-fi long tones in B flat. I want to point out at this time, we have those long tones in all the keys. And once your students are performing them and comfortable, we have etudes to go along with those as well. So they have the same accompaniment background, but now they'll have a etude to help them center into the key and work now on articulations and dynamics and phrasing. So this is a great exercise for your students. In addition, there are other materials in MakeMusic Cloud. Check out Indie Lip Slurs for brass players. It's also important to note that every one of the accompaniments in each key is different. So there are 12 different accompaniments on which your students could be working on long tone exercises in all 12 keys. and look at some of the other method books and the kinds of warm-ups that are in there. So great resource inside of MakeMusic Cloud. Sound Innovations, Book 1 Extras. So we now have inside of MakeMusic Cloud the same exercises that you'll find in your Sound Innovations books, but now the accompaniments are exciting.
The challenge that we have with music, and especially being at the beginning of the journey, is getting past the basics and then being able to make music. So what you're hearing is what you have to do at this stage of the method. Working with our partners at Warner Brothers and MakeMusic, we saw an opportunity to leverage the Warner Brothers Entertainment scores and create immersive audio environments for our young musicians to play with and be a part of the music at any stage of their journey. We also made sure that what the student is playing fits with the music and the setting for the exercise. For this supplemental book, we created 33 cues from 19 different Warner Brothers properties. Each exercise is correlated directly from the source method book, and we tried to create as diverse a collection of composers and settings and properties as we could. This means we can take an exercise like this, a necessary but fairly bland collection of notes and rhythms, and transform it into an engaging musical environment like this. We've created content from the most recent releases and classics. Modern masterpieces, themes from a wide variety of composers, and some truly epic settings.
So utilize the entire Suzuki library with your students. Violin 1 through 3 International Edition features Hilary Hahn performing the classic melodies that all students should be exposed to. Instrumental and vocal students can play and sing along with a professional artist. While you're looking at the violin method, explore the other Suzuki methods and see what may be adaptable for your students. And now the advanced literature with Augustine Hodelick performing. Assign a small phrase to start. Have them listen first and comment, then have them sing and play. Use any of these pieces to have your students listen to their performances. Assign and ask them to play along. If you have transposing instruments, give them small sections, 2 or 4 measures, and ask them to play by ear. If you have a general music class, ask your students to hum along, then sing on la. Choose the most accessible pieces so everyone has success. Suzuki for all. Small ensemble titles. Utilize the small ensemble library in MakeMusic Cloud. One on a part fosters independent skill growth, improving your larger ensembles. It's easier for students to hear their parts. This fosters, again, independent musicians, improves their overall skills, and improves your ensembles in the future. I'll share with you a string teacher who took the Canadian brass piece, Amazing Grace, and divided her orchestra up into mini quintets during a major rehearsal. They just spread themselves out amongst the room. And those students practiced the parts, learned them well. Next day they came in and they performed for each other. And they all acted like an audience and also offered suggestions. Then the culminating activity was they all got together and performed. And her remark was how much better they played as an ensemble, having everyone have that independence of individual parts. Inside of MakeMusic Cloud is our composition tool, Compose. Create an improvisation assignment based on a simple melody. Have your students submit a performance. Send the XML of the assignment so the student can write out their improvisation. Then the student shares the completed written assignment back to you. Create compositions as a class while projecting MakeMusic Cloud for the entire class to see with Compose up. Have students make note and rhythm choices. Using the same parameters, students can create their own composition and then share with the teacher through an assignment. Students can also share with each other. Their work can become sight reading challenges for their peers.